Hi, this is Dave Birkett, Michigan football beat writer for AnnArbor.com, back with my colleague Mike Rothstein to preview another Michigan football weekend. Mike, big game against Penn State coming up this week, number 13. Michigan could use a win at home. But before we get on to that, let's talk about the big story of the week. Bill Martin retiring effective next fall as athletic director of Michigan.
Yeah, it seems like to some people it came as a surprise, at least people that I've spoken to over the past couple days. But a lot of other people were just like, well, you know, he has a lot of other interests. He's a big-time sailor. And there were people who just said that he wanted to start doing that and start kind of living the rest of his life. And so it doesn't come as a surprise. 10 years as an athletic director in most cases is actually a pretty long time if you look at it.
Yeah, and I think his legacy is pretty much established. I mean, it's going to come down to, obviously he built out the infrastructure at the university, the athletic fields and whatnot, stadiums, Michigan Stadium. And then Rich Rodriguez, that hire, and I mean, you know, I think this puts a little bit of pressure on Rich. Not this year, but next year, Rich has to win. You know, new boss man in town. I think you want to make sure you leave that guy with a lasting impression, so he doesn't go off in his own direction.
Oh yeah, every coach worries about that when there's a new hire that comes in, and the other thing with that comes, well, if you're not successful right away, or if that guy comes from, say, a mid-major type program, just throwing this out there like a Dayton or an Xavier, and they like the coaches they have, they might want to bring that guy with them. And I'm talking more obviously in basketball in that case. Not saying that Beeline's in any trouble or anything like that, but that tends to happen sometimes with ADs. So I think every coach has kind of got to be like, well, all right, what's going on here?
Well, I mentioned it. Let's get on to the Penn State game. I mentioned it. They're ranked number 13. In my opinion, they're still the best team in the Big Ten. I know they lost to Iowa, but what does Michigan have to do to pull out a victory this weekend?
They got to run. They can't turn the ball over like they have in other big games, specifically the Iowa game where they turned the ball over 5 times. You just can't do that. You can't make those mistakes against a Penn State team that has never really played well in Ann Arbor, at least over the past decade or so, but there I still would say the better team and more experienced team than Michigan, and that's kind of a big thing.
And that defense is going to be a tough challenge for Michigan. I mean, they lead the Big Ten in points against. They lead the Big Ten in rushing defense. It's kind of, I mean, those are Michigan's strengths. Michigan leads the Big Ten in rushing offense, and Michigan leads the Big Ten in scoring. So it's kind of a butting of heads there.
Yeah, they're just going to play between the 45-yard lines. It's going to be a very, very fun game.
What do you see happening? What do you see happening this week?
I think Michigan's going to be able to run the ball a little bit. I think Tate Forsey is going to be probably the healthiest he's going to be the rest of the year. I think they're going to be able to make some moves on the Penn State defense. But I think Darryl Clark is the most experienced quarterback in the Big Ten. I think he's probably still the best quarterback in the Big Ten. He makes plays with his feet. He makes plays through the air. He's got a great receiver in Moy, and Royster is finally healthy and not sick. So essentially, yeah, I think Penn State's going to win 10-point game, you know, maybe a 13-point game, but it's going to be close throughout, probably 35-24.
You've used the quarterback logic before against Western Michigan and Notre Dame. It didn't work out. Actually, I agree with you this time, though.
Yeah,
I think Penn State has they have the horses on offense that they'll end up getting it done. I think it's going to be a little bit more low scoring than you do, though. I've got Penn State winning 24-17. Another close game, and I don't think that says anything bad about Michigan, where they're headed from here. I still think they get to.
And I was right about Jimmy Clausen, though. Don't forget that. He's in the Heisman race, so, you know, it's not my fault Tim Hiller's just...
Yeah, right. No,
yeah.
Clausen will be a top 10 pick if he comes out this year, too. So, I'm Dave Birkett.
I'm Mike Rothstein.
And be sure to join us next week on AnnArbor.com as we preview another Michigan football weekend.